if it comes down to a military conflict, how can you possibly win? A lot of people make documentary films because they want to become fancy filmmakers ultimately, and I really have no interest in that. I used to own a video store, so I've watched a lot of movies.
Right.
Originally we had a camera person and a sound guy who were going to go with us. As the date grew nearer, the country of Chad declared a state of emergency, and you know, planes were getting shot out of the sky, and the State Department was issuing all these warnings, so people blacked out. But we were stubborn and had already bought our tickets. More importantly, they were non-refundable. So we decided we were going to go anyway. If we had any experience in these types of things, there's no way we would have done this.
I only speak English.
Three drunk guys sitting around talking politics, as people tend to do when they get drunk in Washington, D.C. anyway. You know, we started talking about Darfur and wondering how this situation, which we'd been hearing about all over the place, could possibly be as simple as many activists and journalists had made it out to be, and still nothing had been done about it. So we had this crazy idea that we would go spend Christmas in Darfur and try and get an understanding of the situation for ourselves. And so, you know, we bought this camera, and our flight to Ethiopia consisted of like reading the instruction manual, and then, you know, we purchased this fine book, Audio for Single Camera Operation, which was turned over to our sound man. His name's Ryan Faith, and in real life he's a policy wonk. He works on issues relating to human space exploration. And my expertise is in waiting tables. Maybe this camera just has a different signal, ATW instead of the AWB. Yeah, we learned that going to Darfur was not going to be possible, especially given that this Chicago Tribune reporter named Paul Salopek had recently crossed over the border into Darfur and was imprisoned and charged with espionage. So we opted to go to the refugee camps on the other side of the border, where millions of people from Darfur have fled mass killings and the destruction of their homes. We learned that things in sub-Saharan Africa move at a much slower pace than we were used to.
And how long has he been here?
So it's been 4 years since he left Sudan, but he spent most of that time on the border.
The aid workers that we met, while wonderful, you know, didn't turn out to be the caricatures of aid workers that we expected them to be. They weren't the selfless superheroes that we imagined when we were dreaming up this idea. They were there for a variety of reasons. Some were very virtuous, others were because they hated having square day jobs. So they were varied, and as we made our way to the refugee camps and ultimately got to the refugee camps, you know, we learned that things weren't as we expected them to be. The situation was far more complicated than we ever expected, and we went from people who really thought we were going to make a film that was going to change the world to cynics and really deeply depressed people. And that's one of the reasons it took so long to make the film, because we came back, we're like, well, how do we, you know, all these people gave us donations to go make this film to help save Darfur, and we came back thinking like, yeah, that's not going to happen. So we came to Africa hoping that maybe we could find some answers. Maybe we could figure out how so many people could die for so long without anybody doing anything about it. Were we naive to think that a few mopes could do what so many smart people have failed to do? Sure, but that doesn't mean the smart people are any closer to the solution than we are. Because there are many solutions. There are as many solutions as there are smart people. Maybe we need the UN, or the AU, or the EU, or the PTA and the AFL-CIO, or sanctions, or military intervention, or pressure from China, unless of course China's the problem, then it's pressure on China. Maybe we could arm the rebels, or train the rebels so they can defend themselves, or establish their own country, or overthrow Khartoum, or whatever it is they intend to do, really. The problem is complicated. Everyone's got a solution and everyone's got a heart of gold. But maybe it's not that complicated after all. Some people step up and save human lives with hard work and simple kindness. But more people will continue to rape and kill. Politicians and revolutionaries will dither in the margins, ultimately causing more harm than good. And ultimately, this problem will be solved on Africa Time. Here's something that I have learned that the kids don't like to see this. Watch, check this out. Watch all of them. You don't like that?